Hello and welcome back. MC1 Gamer here, bringing you, well, this is something different. I've been kind of teasing that I'm going to be doing different stuff. I've dabbled in other game systems and talked about things that were not always related to Age of Sigmar. So just taking a break from the Warhammer stuff that I've been doing. I wanted to just give a shout out to the Dwarven Forge guys. I know one of the senior people there, and I've dabbled with these in the past. I've never really gotten into a full Kickstarter, but I did this time. And I think this is a fantastic one. They've taken a whole new direction, especially with their last Kickstarter, Dungeons of Doom. I did not get in on that. I had some other things going on, but I have the opportunity to jump in on this one. And, I learned a few things just conversing today online on the forums about how they're doing it. And this is a bit of a different way that they've been doing things from the past, even from their most recent Kickstarter, which was, I believe it was late last year, the Dungeons of Doom. So I wanted to kind of share that in case anybody was interested in getting on board, or if you are even a Dwarven Forge past Kickstarter pledger. I guess that's how you would call it. But if you're a little confused navigating through how they're structuring it now, I figured I might help out. And I have some opinions and some thoughts as well. But I think this is going to be a fantastic Kickstarter, and I cannot wait to see these things on the table. So I'm just going to scroll down. First of all, these things typically make a lot of money. I don't know what kind of profit margin versus the cost of producing these, how that works. That's certainly something that's proprietary information, but they tend to go into the millions. I don't know, not terribly deep. It could be 2-3 million. That's a lot of money. Certainly a lot of money to me. This one just started today at about 12:15 Eastern, and already it's over 800,000 in terms of pledges. So that's great. And the great thing about anybody who knows Kickstarter is that there tends to be lots of stretch goals, which are rewards for when things get very deep. And they haven't revealed all the stretch goals yet. I imagine they'll probably do that once they hit 1 million, which I'm going to bet they're going to do before the end of the day, maybe, certainly by tomorrow. And we'll be, you get a lot of value for that if you get even in on a basic level. So I'm going to go through some of this stuff and tell you some of the insights that I have and some of the things that I've learned, and maybe that can help you navigate this. If you're on the fence whether or not you want to jump on board, or if you're determined to do it, but you're a little confused and you don't want to dive in until you understand what's going on, because that's how I felt. Maybe I can help you out. I attempted. First of all, look at this. This is an incredible. This is an ice cavern. It certainly takes a bunch of tiles, like maybe 2 to 4 tiles to do, but it really gives you an idea of the kind of theme that they're not just doing just basic caverns. They have some stuff that they still have yet to reveal that they're going to be introducing. But when I was first jumping in, I was navigating this. I was taking a look at what exactly was going on, and I didn't want to pull the trigger because I wanted to ask a few questions. And then I tried to game the system in terms of when I did my pledge, because I wanted to be number 500 in terms of the number of pledges. And this stuff just happens sometimes very quickly, and there's lag in terms of when you click your button and it hits. And I got to be I think 506, but that's okay. I'm on board, and I'm looking forward to it. And of course, I'm going to be probably updating and adjusting my pledge later. But okay, here's where we go. First of all, you get a look at some of these pictures in terms of what they're going to be bringing on board. I am only going to talk about painted stuff, because unless you're really into the hobby and you're really interested in painting this stuff, I think that they do a phenomenal job painting these things. They do. They certainly know that they have their techniques. They have really good sculptors. This stuff is all hand painted. It's amazing. And of course, they hand sculpt it, which it says right here, hand sculpted. But if then they make molds out of it and whatnot. But still, this stuff comes out to be just absolutely beautiful. And if you're playing, whether you're playing Dungeons and Dragons or any other game system, Pathfinder or any other RPG, you can incorporate this. And I've played on this stuff. I have some of it. I only have a little bit, but I do. Just 1 or 2 encounters from the past. But and I'm looking to enhance it. That's why I'm jumping on board now. There's a lot of ways to do this. There's a lot of 3D printing out there that people have talked about and that I've actually shown, and I have a bunch of that stuff too. But this is the creme de la creme. And if you've got a couple extra bucks and you don't want the hassle of getting a printer, printing this stuff out, it takes time. There's a lot of failures. And also the idea of these other systems. You want a uniform system, which is the best quality. Dwarven Forge is the apex. They are the top of the line in terms of what you really get what you pay for and more. So here they got a couple of different pledge levels. Each one is really initially based on each of the encounters. So what they do is they break these out into, yeah, there's nice video here to show, you know, how modular this stuff is. They break them out into encounters. So they're encounter areas that they have themes, and they have different types of pieces. Some of the pieces are redundant, the basic pieces, but they have a whole bunch of, you know, individual pieces for each of these encounters. And they usually have, you know, the 1 through 15, and the higher you go, the bigger and more elaborate they are. And usually the top ones, 12 to 15, are these really special ones, a departure from the rest. And there's variations on how they've done that, but that's typically what I've seen. But this time they're doing something different where they're breaking out the individual packs. And this gives you an ability to really customize what you want. Maybe you have gone in big on past Kickstarters. Maybe you've purchased right from the web store a whole bunch of Caverns. You have a lot of these tiles already, and you're really looking for the new stuff, or the accents to really make these things pop, or the trays, because now they have magnetized. I mean, I've talked to one of the senior guys, Nate, about magnetization for a long time, for a couple of years now. When they started doing it, I was really excited, and they really came up with a pretty elegant system and a really good system. It's a simple system, but it works. So here, let's say there's Nate there. Here's a look at all the different sets. Now, if you're going to buy all these sets, you're going to drop a lot of money. So be prepared. But there's a way that you can do it where you can customize this, and you really can save yourself a few bucks. And that's really what I wasn't understanding, because the layout, it's not fully intuitive, but once you ask a few questions, and, you know, people who are very helpful, the community is extremely supportive and helpful. And there's plenty of the employees that are on board on the website, in the chat. They are, you know, in the forums, in the comments here on the Kickstarter site itself. They're really helpful, and they're on the ball, and they're watching, and they're responding pretty quickly, which is important, because you don't want to lose the ability to get somebody to come on board and make a pledge just because they couldn't get a question answered. So each of these is different types of sections. I'm going to show some pictures of these because it's a really well done Kickstarter page. But they have some that have yet to be revealed. These are the higher level ones. They've only gone, like, I think it's like 1 to 12 that they've shown, that they haven't shown 13, 14, and 15, the different areas. And as you can see, they get bigger and bigger as you go. And here, look at this. This is absolutely beautiful. First of all, this is a little dock. So I'm going to talk about this in a second. So yeah, it gives you an idea of the different types. I love this elevation thing. These are I guess metal tiles with a kind of a film, or like a material on top of them, probably like a neoprene or something. It doesn't interfere with the magnetic connectivity, but they have a look of a particular environment. So with the Dungeons of Doom, this was very much a environment that was for a dungeon-esque feel to it, a rocky feel to it. It's a little bit different this time. They're going to have a lot of water effects on these, but these are magnetic, and the bottom of these tiles have magnets on them, so they adhere to these trays. And some of the trays are different size, and they can be, you know, as you can see here, they could be actually elevated with these pillars. And what that means is you could have much more than just the singular plane for them. And that's, I think, a big game changer. When they first started doing that, I think it was the first time they did it was in Dungeons of Doom. That was a big deal. Some people were taking like foam, you know, this hard foam, and cutting it out into particular diagrams. I've seen people do that, or buying some kind of a cheap material that could, you know, that things can be lay up on top of. But this is stuff that can actually connect. They have pegs that connect these platforms onto the pillars, and then those magnetize to the tray. So you have a little more adherence. Now everything is going to be magnetized. Some of this stuff that, you know, piles on top of, say, like a dais or steps, those things, even if you move this stuff, it could get to slide off. But a lot of this stuff is magnetized, which makes it so much easier to store and move or reveal in different stages. So definitely a good system and a step up. I think they could actually go much further with the magnetization maybe it's cost prohibitive. Maybe that's why they didn't do it. Okay, so this one encounter area looks really small. You can see it's really just this piece here, which is not, you know, it's not huge. It's a small encounter area, but I look at this as just one room, one cavern of a larger dungeon. The main thing is that they've broken out some of these exceptional pieces. You're going to see these core packs that are going to have a lot of redundancy in terms of the pieces. I like a lot of these pieces. Like these over here are these junction pieces. These are really good. But if you bought like every one of these encounters, if you went in for a pledge, you get like 6 or 8 or 10 of them, and you don't need that many. There's going to be a lot of pieces that could be sitting on your shelf or in your storage bins. or however you store them. And that's where I think you need to be smart. A lot of people, they'll take a look at the pricing first, and it's just like hits them like a brick wall. I can buy a car for that. But if you're smart about it and savvy, especially if you have some stuff that you've already purchased, there's a way you can enhance it with all the new goodies, and you don't have to go in and have to sell a kidney. So they've broken out the stuff into core packs, these adventure packs. These are riser. This one's called a riser pack. So this one is they have individual names depending on what each of these encounters are. And this is a small one. This is a great entry level one. So you get some really good important pieces that you will be able to use just about anything, any kind of a cavern setup. But this is really the game changer here. And God, I hate the word that phrase game changer, but it kind of is. This is a new piece. They've never done it. It's a large piece. It kind of like it could be a dip into the cavern, or it could be that you're stepping up into the entrance of an elevated cavern. You'd take a look at the videos on the website. You'll see that Nate, one of their directors, he gives a demonstration of it. They're putting out videos on YouTube as well that's going to describe, how these things work and what, how they look. And this is a large piece. All right, it's not a tiny little thing. I wish they had a little bit better high definition, or rather, good quality images that you could kind of click on and they would pop up and you could see them a little more. But I think you get a pretty good idea, certainly, with how they lay this out. And once you understand what they're doing, it makes it easier. Now, all these different packs also are connected to their own stretch goals. They haven't revealed what they are, but you can say plus these stretch goals, and this is an empty scene. So you can buy this one pack, which includes all these different pieces and all the stretch goals that are assigned to it. Or, as we can see later on, you could do a custom build your own, and you could pick, say, one of these elements. Let's say maybe you want this core pack, maybe to supplement a larger core pack from one of the later encounter areas. Or if you want to invest in one or two of those, you can forget about this core pack, maybe just pick up this adventure pack and this entrance riser pack. This is definitely what I'm going to pick up. I don't know if I'd pick up two of these, but I would definitely pick up one. Might be two. It depends. Now, I imagine that some of these stretch goals for each of these subsets might be different. But what's really important, what I want to impart to you, is that you should look at these things and try to take a look at what exactly you want, what you need, and what you're going to, what you want to buy. Because when you take a look at some of these pledge levels, 2,000, 1,500, or whatever, you don't need to spend that kind of money if you want to just get into a starter area, get a couple of encounter areas. You don't even have to. You could customize what you're going to do and really get a much better economic buy-in in terms of that. You don't have to go full hog wild, unless of course you do want to, in which case knock yourself out. Okay, so this is called a prison passage. You'll see it's got these great little. This is like a winding passage here. I think this is a great one, but you're going to see these duplicated further on in. So you got a couple of these other passages. Some of them are just straight blocks. Some of them are angled for curves. They're filler pieces. They're escalation pieces for elevation pieces. But then you have these specialty ones, adventure pack, this double door thing. You'll see this again. You're going to see this one several times. So maybe if you bought this one and you got everything on in the entire encounter area, maybe you forego getting this again later on, unless you want to see this in your build further in. All right, so we got this bestial cavern. Now we're getting to things that are a little bit bigger. Here we've got one of these trays. These are like they say 4 by 8. I guess they're 4 by 8 inches. I'm not sure. I know that they described the height of these blocks in millimeters. So I don't know if this is consistent. But even so, these are pretty large plates. They tend to be in the bigger ones, 1 by 1 foot. It looks like to me 1 by 1 foot sections, so that you can unveil different pieces as you go in. Maybe it's easier to store it that way. Either way, what I've seen is they're pretty sizable. So I don't think it's 4 by 8 inches, because that seems to be more horizontal. These seem the basic ones seem to be more square. But then again, you take a look at the pieces. We go down a little further. This is a little bit larger. It's called the web layer. And now you're going to see some of these. Again, here's the winding passage. If you don't want 6 or 8 of these, you don't have to buy all the core packs. You can buy all the extras. So now here we see the first of these I don't know if this is water or ice trays. They have that theme instead of what we saw before, the dungeonish-esque one, or maybe it's more of a dirt or cavern type. And then these rising elevation packs you're going to see a couple times throughout as we get further in. And I don't know how many you need of these, so I'd probably make sure I have a couple. But if you're and they describe this, if you're building this stuff for an event, typically you probably want to build anywhere between 1 and 3 encounters is what they say. I would like to do a little more. I would like to have stuff set up for multiple encounters, maybe a few more than that, but I don't think you need 10 different encounter areas, which you're not going to have maybe every little inch of a dungeon necessarily as encounter areas. You might want to specialize in just when things are when big events happen, and then pull out something. But if you want to just map out an entire cavern structure or dungeon, yeah, be prepared to spend a lot more money. Okay, so now we're getting something a little bit larger. You can see again, this is this is ruins pack. Yeah, this is another one of those doors. These are different pieces now, so you get an idea of what it might look like. So again, there are going to be some redundant pieces, but I can see already there's a few pieces here that are new and different, and it gives you an idea of the layout that they are designing for this encounter. But by no means are you restricted to that. This stuff is modular; you can make whatever you want. All right, so we go down further again. Here's the covert war camp. They have this is one little adventure pack which looks like it has a rock door, a hidden door. At least that's what it looks like to me. And of course the stretch goals aren't there. These camp packs, look, if you don't want bed rolls and a campfire, you can forego that. Just get the other extras, or maybe you just want those because you're going to get a lot of this stuff in maybe the other packs. Here's that winding passage again, but this one is very interesting. This is like a 6x6 section. It's pretty big. So I guess it's about 9 tiles equivalent. And these are great because if you want large open areas in the center of your encounter area, you can put other stuff in there, of course, but want to build around it, build larger, more open caverns or whatnot. You want to have these. And how many are you going to use? Could you use 2, 4, whatever? But again, if you want to gauge that when you look at these really key pieces. I'm going to go further on down. This is really interesting. Mushroom Grotto. There's a lot of new pieces here. Very colorful. These added pieces. You can see here again. This 6x6 tile is listed here. And again, these for which allow for junctions. You could do 2-way or 3-way passageways. This one here looks like it's a stairway elevation, or maybe you could have 2 of them that marry together. So yeah, I'm not sure if you can see my mouse as I'm scrolling through this, but hopefully you can. And then of course another one of these terrain trays. Again, they're metal and they have some kind of material on them, so it's not just a sheet of metal. And they have a texture or a diagram to them. So let's go further on down. This is probably the most popular one. This is certainly the one I'm most excited about. This is a Savage Gorge. All right, so you have a rope bridge, which is great. You got images of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and obviously this is something that has elevation because you have a lower section here, which is water or whatever else it might be. You could probably put who knows? You could probably put lava. I know they had these that had lava diagrams in Dungeons of Doom. So it was like reds and oranges and whatnot, and very well done. It really looked the part. So you could actually swap those if you had those, or if you want to buy them down the road when they get released to the shop. And the great thing is look, some of these pieces you're going to see in later. I like this elevated piece here, but this may be one of the core packs that I would buy, or maybe one of the sets that I would buy the entirety of. But then you have this adventure pack. The stalagmite pack, I'm not going to buy multiples of those, but they have one full suspension bridge pack. Maybe you buy a couple of them. Maybe you want a really, really long one. Maybe this Savage Gorge here. There's if you're getting these pieces in, and this, here are the trays. This is 12 by 12. Okay, great. So it is like a foot, 1 by 1 square for the main ones, and then they have these smaller ones for smaller sections. Where I guess you could build around it. Either way, these little 2x2s. Okay, so they have multiples of these, but maybe you're getting this pack with these trays in another one, and you don't really need them. You can customize it. Again, here's that rising elevation pack we saw earlier. Smuggler's Cove. Okay, so this one has a little more water, a boat, and this is where you'll find the docks. So I can definitely see getting a couple more of these. They come with like this one plank, one long dock here, this gangplank. and 4 of each of these. So you're just going to have, I would probably pick 2 or 3 of these up, honestly, and just add them in. But here you see, again, Smuggler's Cove. So here you get this one big 12-inch tray, 12 by 12 tray, 4 by 8, and a 6 by 6. This is great. There's a lot of different ways. If you get this couple of these in maybe 1 or 2 of these core packs, not core packs, and one of these add-on packs, you don't really need. Some of them I think come in the core packs. I don't know. I'll have to take a look. You don't need to get them in every one of these, and you get more bang for your buck. But this is one of those that has a lot of different stuff here, and I definitely would consider this. I might, if I don't want the stalagmites or stalactites, whatever they are. I guess they're stalagmites. This comes with 2 of them in the core pack, so maybe that's enough. Maybe that's enough, and you can cherry pick from the other ones. But this is a really nice one. Okay, this is much larger. They get bigger as you go. Much larger. There's a lot more stuff here. So if you take a look at the core pack, we've seen these again. This big one that I talked about. Here's one of the trays. So they do include some of the trays in the core pieces. But then you got this, this adventure pack here with this shrine and other different elements and pieces that you might want to get. Here's a nice one, a cave pool pack that has a bunch of different types of tray diagrams. Here's a good one, Stairway to Violence. There's this center piece here, which I guess is a stairway, but it's an elevated, and this one we saw earlier. Hey, maybe you forego the earlier one and you got this one. I think you're getting the point. But they got really, really a lot of depth. And you really, the way they broke it out is easier. You not automatically have to buy an entire section and entire encounter area. Here's another big one that includes one of these big tiles here. And it could maybe, look, if you have a bunch of these tiles, or if you just want to go in with 1 core pack and not get 3 or 4 of them, you might be fine unless you're doing a massive cavern with several different, with numerous encounters, 5, 6 encounters maybe you want to put in there. If you want to do more, you might want to get even more of these. But if you want to save a couple bucks and do 1 or 2 encounters, maybe you get this 1 core pack and you don't get the other ones. But these, look, if you do that, maybe you just want to buy this adventure pack, which is like the dressing and interesting stuff that you might put inside of the dungeon. This is a mimic pack. I guess this is a mimic with it says a pile of equipment and treasure, and it becomes a mimic. I don't know. You might not need that. Maybe you have a miniature already for that. And here's one of their unique ones. This one's different. You can mix and match this certainly with the other tiles, but it's beautiful. They showed a video with one of these a little more close up, and they're really well done. And it's probably just, a series of different colors, dry brushed, and, individual, picking out individual colors and whatnot. But this is an ice cavern. And, when you get this one, I think you're going to, when you see this one on the table, I mean, this picture, it's hard to really, you can't zoom in. You got a little bit closer one here, but you really get the impression of, it really stands out. And when they have individual trays, like I think this tray over here is, I think this is like an ice piece here. Yeah, here we go. You can buy the ice catacombs. You can buy multiples of these if you wanted that, like that picture I showed at the beginning. So if you have this one, this is a 12 by 12, and you have this little 6 by 6. Here's some stalagmite packs. Maybe you want to pick and choose just from some of these if you don't want to get the whole thing. But this is nice. These are some of the larger pieces that are ice. Maybe you don't care about the ice ones, but there's going to be, and this is where you have to build your own. They have set up pledges. I don't know about this one here. This is the Cavern Entrance Pledge. And this gets better right after this one, certainly, where they kind of bundle stuff in. But this one I'm a little confused with, because this one it's $145 for hand painted. I'm not even looking at unpainted. I mean, if you are, great. It looks like it has exactly the same stuff as the Summoning Chamber, which is what I scrolled down from before. And this one is like, this is, kind of strange. This one is like $9 or $10 more. So I don't really understand how that works. This is one of their, this is one of the first chambers as I was scrolling down, and it's more expensive. And this one is, why wouldn't you just buy this Cavern Entrance Pledge? It just looks like it has the exact same pieces for $10 cheaper or $9 cheaper. That's what I would do. But then this is where it gets interesting and really is more economical. You got these Adventure Essentials packs, so you can do like the 1 to 3 of the encounters, or 1 to 6, or 1 to 9, and it's not going to give you every core pack. So it has this like universal pack, which again we've seen again and again, some of these in each of these encounter areas, and all of the add-ons. So if you just wanted to get, like, you'd be able to do each of, not at the same time, but you wanted to have the option of modularly changing up the format to look at these 3 different areas, encounter areas. You have all those extras, and all you need is just one universal pack. And then here's the 1 through 6. So you have 6 different caverns on top of the multitude, the endless combinations you can come up with. And some of them could be smaller or larger. You wouldn't be able to do them necessarily side by side. Maybe you could do 2 or 3 of them side by side. And you get all of the extra add-ons. And look, you get this universal packs. Probably could do 2 of these simultaneously, maybe even 3. Yeah, you could do that. Maybe you buy one of these core packs and enhance this particular one. But these are a really good way to get a bunch of stuff and some really good tiles and be able to get 2, 3, 4 of these cavern areas and hallways and whatnot for a much better price. They already bundle this in. You can do your own customization, but they bundle them in. And this is a nice large one. This is like 3 of their bigger packs. You got the 8, 6, and 9. It looks like. And those are the upper of the options. And you can see this is all the stuff that's included. But as you can see, it's only got the universal pack that appears both in 7 and 9, the universal pack that's in 4 and 6, and the universal pack that's in 1, 2, and 3. I guess that's how it works. But all these extra add-ons and all the stretch goals are included with them. So that's a lot of extra stuff. And certainly stuff is going to be opened up as the pledges increase. Yeah, this is another one that's very pricey. But again, you're starting with 1 or 2 or 3 of the core sets, and then all of the window dressing extra add-ons and options for all of the 1 through 11 encounter areas. If you try to buy each of those individual counter areas, you're going to have so much extra tiles that are going to be sitting on a shelf somewhere. You're going to pay a lot more money, substantially more money. This is a way you can do it that's a lot less and more economical. And then they haven't revealed this yet. They have one that's the this is called Uncharted Underground. This is the Ice Cavern, and we have a couple of other that are going to be revealed. This is a very pricey one, but it's all their new ones that are not really. They're like, I guess each of the pieces is completely new and unique. So it's a little bit more pricey because I guess they didn't break those out. They're not bundling them together. And then, you got stretch goals. You have a lot of stuff that's going to open up as they go. So we're already past all of these that have been opened up, but they haven't updated the site yet. I guess, again, they're going to wait. Maybe they do it at the end of each day. They don't do it live, I guess. But we're already over this 800,000 mark. So we've already opened up all the way to here. They got a bunch of these things, all the way up to 1 million, but they haven't opened up this. I'm sure they have several pages of this that's more to come. And let's take a look and see where they are now in terms of the total pledges at this point. So right now, they are just over 817,000 in terms of the pledges. I fully expect this thing to go to 3, possibly, more, 3.5. I think it's 2.5 or 3.5 was Dungeons of Doom, which I think was their biggest one. I don't remember. I don't keep track of it that closely. But for just one day and not even a full day, we're talking about 7 hours. That's a lot. And just in the time that we were here, it was just a little over 800. They probably got another 10K just in the 20 minutes or 30 minutes of this episode. So, you can get an idea that there's a lot of people out there that are buying into this stuff. You can, if you know anything about Kickstarter, you can adjust your pledge. Don't adjust down because that can affect the stretch goals. But, if you wanted to get on board for more, if you pledged at a modest level, you can always upgrade. And that's a good thing too. But they're doing well, and I have no doubt that this is going to be a huge Kickstarter. It's going to be interesting to see how successful this one is because there's so many interesting new pieces and new options. There's LEDs, everything's magnetized. Well, most of the things are magnetized. They have a whole magnetization system. It's really interesting. If this is the kind of thing you like, these hobbies are not cheap. I know that some of the, for instance, Warhammer armies that I have for Age of Sigmar, or if you're into 40K, they could be just incredibly expensive. And even if you're collecting little bits over time, including paints and all the other hobby stuff, and if you're into if you get the minis for D&D, those are expensive. Those are not cheap either. So this is exciting if this is what you're into. I went in at a modest level. I'm going to dip my toe and see how it is. I just want a couple of encounter areas, but I'm sure the stretch goals are going to expand upon that even further. And if you're interested, keep an eye on this, but don't wait. Jump in, because the sooner that people get on board, the sooner they can unlock and you can see the value of what you're putting in. More content coming. Again, some of it is going to be RPG, D&D oriented, but a lot more that's coming that's going to be wargaming as well. Feel free to post and, any comments, any questions, anything that you guys are interested in me trying to focus on for future content. And have a great day, everybody.